Hello everybody. I'm going to give you a real quick demonstration on how to properly lubricate and maintain your Tama Speed Cobras. This also works for the Iron Cobra series because they're pretty much designed the same. At least they are now. First thing you're going to need for tools is a Phillips head screwdriver. Doesn't matter if it's long or short, they both work. Second thing you're going to need is your drum key, or as Tama calls it, the drum hammer, off of your pedal. They both the Iron Cobra and the Speed Cobra include it. Then you're going to need a rag, clean rag, a couple of them actually. Then finally you're going to want a nice high quality lubricant. I use this Amsoil brand heavy duty metal protector. It's actually designed for motorcycle chains. Works awesome. You don't want to use anything like a penetrating lubricant such as WD-40 or something like that, because it's just too thin and it doesn't really do what we want it to do. So use a nice heavy duty lubricant. You can get one at your local auto parts store or bike shop. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to remove the spring assembly to gain access to the bearings. We're going to be doing this on both sides, and if you notice here there's a roller bearing that needs to be lubricated too. You don't have to worry about lubricating that race that the bearing sits that fits inside of the roller bearing. That's, we just need to worry about the bearing itself. And of course we want to go ahead to the other side, and if you have a twin pedal, and remove that spring so we can gain access to the other side and gain access to the bearing. Now once we've done that, use your drum key that's included with the pedal to loosen up they call that the speedo ring. It's basically what the roller bearing is connected to, and loosen up your linkage and separate that from the pedal. And once you do that, that speedo ring will be able to pull right off of there, and you'll be able to gain access to the screws behind it. Okay, and once you do that, the speedo ring will come off, and now's a great time to clean that up, get all the gunk off of it, and lubricate it. Okay, once you have that done, you're going to want to take your Phillips screwdriver and remove the two screws that are on the metal bearing cover. They come out very easy, and they're not Loctited in or anything like that. You're going to want to remove both of them, and that will expose the bearing. So we just pop off the metal bearing cover like that, and there's your bearing right there. It's a floating bearing, which means it's not pressed in or anything like that, so you can just take it right out of there and clean it up. You want to make sure that you get all the gunk off of it. Dirt and debris tend to rest in there. Okay, on this other side, it has the same assembly, but I don't like to remove the speedo ring on that side, just to make my life easier, and I like to keep I base my settings off of this side, so I just remove the two Phillips screws from the metal bearing cover, which you can do with the speedo ring installed on this side, and that frees up all the whole linkage for you to be able to lubricate all the bearings and get in there and do what you need to do. Okay, so once you do that, you'll notice that the whole shaft assembly is loose now. It's free. It's a two-piece shaft system, so when you lift that up, you'll notice that the slave side will come loose like that, which houses two more bearings, actually three if you include the outer bearing. And what we're going to do is we're going to take off that outer bearing first, and you want to clean that shaft, and you want to clean this outer bearing. So once you have the slave side off, you're going to want to expose the bearings inside of this housing here. All you have to do is there's a black plastic trim piece right there that you just screw right off, almost like the top of a water bottle. It just completely screws right off of there. Be careful not to damage the threads. And that's going to expose a bearing, a spacer, and then another bearing in there. And that's basically what it looks like inside of that cavity. You're going to have two bearings and a spacer. So then you want to grab the master side assembly and that bearing up in there. You want to proceed to clean that and lubricate it. I use a clean rag. I clean the posts first on the casting where the bearing actually rests. Get rid of any kind of debris, dirt, excess grease, anything in there. Then you're going to go right to cleaning the actual bearing. It's a little bit pain in the butt on this side because you have the bearing cover still installed and the speedo ring, but just take your time, make sure it's nice and clean. Grab a blower if you can, blow out any dust from that general area as well. Okay, once you've done the master side, you want to grab the slave side and clean out that cavity with a clean rag. Look at how dirty that was. Then you want to grab your speedo ring, that roller bearing there. You want to make sure that's clean as well. We're just preparing to get everything nice and clean so we can lubricate it. And those are the clean bearings. Now once we got them clean, we need to lubricate them. So we're going to spray our synthetic lubricant or whatever kind of lubricant you guys choose. Make sure that you do both sides. You can give them plenty of ample spray, and make sure to lubricate the bearing on the master side of the pedal, because that one's just as important. Get rid of any kind of excess lubricant. And once we got that side taken care of, we need to reinstall the slave side. We got to put our bearings back in first. You got one bearing, then you got the spacer, and it has to be in this order. So you have a bearing, spacer, and then another bearing. And make sure you guys put that in the right way. And then you're going to screw your that black plastic cap back on over it. I give it an extra spray of lubricant just for good measure in there. Okay, so now you got to install your retaining ring there, and basically this goes back together the exact same, actually just the opposite way it came apart. You get that ring installed, and then what I like to do is clean that drive shaft there if you haven't already. Then you just start putting it back together the exact opposite way you took it apart. Put your bearing back in there, and after that's going to be your bearing cover plate, and then you're going to put your speedo ring on there, and you're essentially just going to do everything in reverse when it came to taking it apart, in that same order. Just make sure everything's nice and tight, and make sure that everything's lubricated. Ultimately, the goal is just to make sure that everything's completely clean, nice and lubricated, and don't forget to lubricate the chains on the pedals themselves, because that's actually a moving part that does break down and wear. So it's important to make sure that you pay attention to all those parts. And obviously, if you have a twin pedal, you'll do the exact same thing on the slave side. It's actually a lot easier on the slave side to lubricate and clean up. So hope this helps. It definitely makes an improvement, noticeable improvement, after I lubricate and maintain my Speed Cobra. You can definitely feel a difference. So I recommend, depending on how frequently you play out, I recommend doing it every 3 months. It's a pretty fast process, and it's definitely it's definitely worth the time, especially when you have an investment like the Tama Speed Cobra or an Iron Cobra. So hope this helps, and thanks for watching.